Welcome to The Explainer. I am so incredibly excited you're tuning in today because we are going to unpack something that I know keeps so many of us up at night. We're doing a complete paradigm-shifting breakdown of modern retirement math. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by those staggering numbers the financial industry tells you that you supposedly need to survive your golden years, well, you're in the right place. We're going to dismantle that fear, look at the actual data, and break down exactly why the conventional wisdom is just fundamentally broken. $2 million. I mean, just think about that number. It's huge, it's intimidating, and it is literally everywhere. For years now, the financial industry has hammered this terrifying anchor number into our brains. They push it in articles, in commercials, in those glossy brochures. They make you feel like if you haven't hit this massive seven-figure milestone, you're destined to fail. It kind of creates this underlying panic, doesn't it? Like a constant drumbeat telling you you're falling way behind. And it usually comes packaged in a quote exactly like this. If you don't have $2 million saved for retirement, you're not ready. Honestly, I want to validate any anxiety you might be feeling right now hearing that because it sounds incredibly scary. But here's the massive problem with that statement. That number relies on completely outdated 1990s assumptions. We're talking worst-case scenarios and a retirement lifestyle that most people don't even actually plan to live. It is a myth. And today, we're going to crack it wide open. Section 1. The flawed math of the 1990s. So to really understand why this $2 million myth is so wrong for 2026, we first have to look at where it came from. See, most financial advisors still rely on the 4% rule. This was created by a guy named Bill Bengen way back in the 1990s. And the math was super simple. Want 40 grand a year, you need $1 million. Want 80 grand, you need $2 million. But these traditional models make some wildly pessimistic assumptions. They assume you're selling off your investments every single year, collecting absolutely zero Social Security, like literally zero, and carrying a hefty mortgage in a highly expensive city. But for most of us watching this right now, those old assumptions just don't apply. In 2026, the reality is keeping your assets, actually collecting your Social Security, and likely having a paid-off home. Which brings us to the 2026 retirement formula. Let's just let go of that whole $2 million panic for a second and look at the real math. Here is your new paradigm, and it is beautifully simple. Your actual retirement gap is just your income needed minus your guaranteed income. That's it. And let me tell you, that changes absolutely everything. You don't need a massive pile of cash just sitting there collecting dust. You only need enough investment assets to produce that remaining gap after your guaranteed income is factored in. Okay, let's picture a retired couple who needs to spend $60,000 a year. Imagine $38,000 of that comes directly from Social Security. Then another $22,000 is generated from their dividend investments. Notice the missing piece here? There's absolutely zero need for a $2 million portfolio. Their entire $60K need is met simply through guaranteed income and cash flow. So how do we actually build this out? We use what I like to call the 4 hidden multipliers. Let's start with multiplier 1, Social Security. This is the giant missing puzzle piece in almost every online retirement calculator that tries to scare you. The industry loves to pretend this money doesn't exist, but based on 2026 estimates, the average retired worker benefit is roughly $2,071 a month. But for a retired couple, that jumps to an estimated $3,208 a month. Do the math on that. That couple is bringing in nearly $38,500 a year just from Social Security alone. That is a massive foundation of guaranteed income you do not have to scrape together from your own savings. Let's connect the dots here. If your retirement spending target is 60 grand a year and Social Security already covers 38,500 of that, well, your portfolio only needs to cover the gap, which is roughly 21,500 a year. Now, if you have your money invested at a really conservative 3.5% dividend yield, you only need about $615,000 invested to hit that. Yes, $615,000, not $2 million. It's a total game changer. Moving right along to multiplier 2, dividend investing. To really grasp this advantage, we got to look at how we treat our money once we actually stop working. Traditional strategies tell you to slowly sell off your shares every year. It's basically like chopping down your own apple tree for firewood. And doing that exposes you to a really critical industry risk called sequence of returns risk, which is just a fancy way of saying you might be forced to sell your investments during a market crash just to pay your bills. When you sell low, your money drains fast. But dividend investors, They dramatically reduce this pressure because they live off the apples, the dividends, and those keep rolling in even when the underlying stock prices take a temporary hit. People often do this using popular dividend ETFs. Think funds like SCHD, VYM, or DGRO. Historical data shows that funds like these have actually continued paying out dividends right through recessions, market crashes, and heavy inflation cycles. By holding these, you completely flip the retirement game. You aren't sitting there constantly refreshing your portfolio balance in a panic. You're just comfortably managing your income stability. Multiplier 3, the Paid-Off House Advantage. Honestly, I genuinely believe this might be the single biggest retirement multiplier that nobody is talking about. If you're a middle-class viewer who has been diligently paying down that mortgage month after month, year after year, here is where it pays off big time. Just let this mathematical reality sink in. A paid-off $2,500 a month mortgage is exactly equivalent to owning an extra $750,000 investment portfolio yielding 4%. Literally the same math. By knocking out a $30,000 a year housing expense, your required retirement number shrinks dramatically. This is exactly why so many retirees with what Wall Street calls modest portfolios are living so well. Their biggest expense just completely vanished. And finally, Multiplier 4, relocation savings, because your geographic location matters so much more to your math than people realize. Where you choose to wake up every morning dictates how fast money leaves your bank account. A couple might easily spend $72,000 a year just to survive in expensive cities like San Francisco, New York, or Boston. But if they relocate to lower-cost states like Tennessee, Mississippi, or Arkansas, that spending need plummets to between $50,000 and $56,000 a year for the exact same quality of life. That difference alone instantly slices hundreds of thousands of dollars off your required retirement savings. Okay, realistic 2026 scenarios. We've covered the 4 multipliers, right? Now let's look at real examples to prove conclusively that this actually works. Take a single retiree at age 67. They've got a paid-off modest home in a low-cost state. Average Social Security brings in roughly $24,800. Add a conservative $300,000 dividend portfolio, and that generates about $10,000 more. That gives them a total annual income of around $35,000 a year. Now, is it a luxury yacht club lifestyle? No. But without a mortgage, this is a completely stable, fully dignified retirement. And the crazy thing is, thousands of people are already doing it with just $300K. Now, what about a median American couple, age 60 plus, with a paid-off suburban home and maybe $750,000 invested? Well, Social Security provides about $38,500, add in roughly $28,000 initially from their dividend ETFs, and their total cash flow sits comfortably between $66,000 and $85,000 a year. That easily beats average retiree spending levels in America right now. Plus, because dividends can actually grow over time, they might even get financially stronger in their 70s. It completely shatters the idea that everyone needs $2 million. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to level with you on a mindset level. Wall Street profits when you are afraid because fear keeps you blindly chasing an ever-moving target. But retirement isn't about impressing strangers on the internet with some massive portfolio balance. It is about freedom, stability, cash flow, lower stress, owning your time, and just living within your means. If you align those elements, I promise you, you are probably much, much closer to retirement than you think. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly empowering thought. I want you to stop asking, how do I somehow reach $2 million? And instead ask yourself, what does enough look like for me? Because enough is totally different for everyone. Once you calculate your own actual expenses, your guaranteed Social Security, your housing situation, and your investment income, that terrifying $2 million myth totally shatters, and true stress-free retirement becomes a reality you can actually achieve.